A new season marks a new beginning, but for the Mariners, this one celebrates 40 years of memories.
Welcome to Seattle's Kingdome, opening night 1977, the new expansion Seattle Mariners.
An anniversary that honors 4 decades of bonding between fans and the Mariners here in the Northwest.
See you later! Upper deck! Holy cow, the kid has done it!
While players come and go, even legends, their memories create a connection for those young and old in the stands, on the field, and in the clubhouse.
Into the right! Giddy up and gone!
For this year's team, it's time to build on those moments, create a few more, and forge their own legacy.
Oh, wow!
Welcome back, baseball, and happy anniversary.
Here we are for the home opener here at Safeco Field, and what a beautiful sight this ballpark is. The best ballpark in the major leagues. So we welcome you to Mariner Baseball. The Houston Astros in town, the nemesis of the Mariners. And right now, the Mariners put their hopes on James Paxton to get things going here in the home schedule and get the Mariners back in a winning column. Good to be back with you, everybody, here in Seattle. Dave Sims and Mike Blowers, and the boys are off to a tough start on the road, but now it's time to smile again, get some W's.
First of all, it's great to be home.
Oh,
the guys are glad to be home too. The ceremonies are over. We just showed you James Paxton. It's time to get to work.
This past road trip, this past weekend, what do you draw out of it? What positives do you draw out of it?
Well, I think that the main thing is you can look at the starting pitching at 3 ERA. Everybody's excited about that. For the most part, the bullpen exception was yesterday, has pitched pretty well. And offensively, things are starting to get better. The top and the bottom have done their job. Yesterday, we see Cano drive in 5. The rest of the guys jump on board.
Well, we got a good house here today at Safeco Field. Glad you are with us here on Root Sports. James Paxton ready to go to work. It'll be his second time against the Astros in a week, matching up with Charlie Morton, and leading off George Springer, who's 3 for 15 against Paxton. 2 are home runs. First pitch off the plate for a ball. Home plate umpire Mike Everett, Bill Welke at first, Bruce Streckman at second, and Jordan Baker at third. Pulled the roof back about 125 today as Springer fouls one off.
Springer with 29 home runs last year, so he's not your typical leadoff hitter. He had a leadoff home run against the Mariners in Houston. He has 10 of those in his career. You have to be careful with him leading off the game.
He's one of the really big, free swinging leadoff guys we have in the game.
And he has the speed to be a leadoff hitter, but not the swing, as you mentioned. A lot of power. That is something that James did really well in Houston. He went 6 innings, just 2 hits, did not give up a run to the Astros, and it's because he pitched inside with a good fastball, then used his curveball in the dirt, get him to chase it.
2-1 pitch. If circumstances permit, do you see Paxton going beyond 6 today?
I think that he can, yes. I think if you look at his last outing, he threw 100 pitches to get through 6, and it was his first time out, and guys are going to be on a pitch count their first 2, maybe 3 times. But I think as the season goes on, you're definitely going to see him go deeper into ball games. He's capable as he gets him to pop this up.
Cano going back. Haniger calls him off. 1 out.
Good communication there. Take a look at the rest of Houston's lineup, and you always look right at Jose Altuve. What a player. You just saw Springer. You can see this right here. Led the major leagues with 4 home runs. Altuve, last year's American League batting title winner. Josh Reddick coming over from the A's. He is going to be in right field and hitting 8th. And Gurriel, the first baseman, will round out the 9 for Houston. For James Paxton, last year, 20 starts for him, a 3.79 ERA, 6-7 record, 117 strikeouts over just 24 walks last year.
Alex Bregman, third baseman, looks at a strike. Slow start for Bregman, 4 for 24.
For James Paxton, last year's numbers, his fastball on average was 97 miles an hour. And we saw him between 95 and 99 in Houston in his first start. Also threw his curveball about 27% of the time. It was a good pitch for him.
Pretty good fastball. They go 1-2. Houston in 12 beat Kansas City yesterday. Marisnik tied it in the 9th. They got a bases loaded walk to win it. No play for Valencia.
Now we'll take a look at the defense. Dyson, Martin, and Haniger in the outfield. They'll cover a lot of ground. Kyle Seager, the Gold Glover, at third base. Segura and Cano playing up the middle. Danny Valencia, the first baseman, and Mike Zunino will do the catching.
They're in the process of reclosing the roof. Rain scheduled to hit within the next 20 minutes or so. They opened it at 125. And here it is at 2:14, starting to close it again. Here's a strikeout for Big Pats, 2 down.
About 97 miles an hour on the outer half of the plate. And we'll take a look at the swing. And you can see late. Bregman is late on the fastball at 97.
Here is Altuve. He's off to a slow start, 6 for 30. But he has been Devil Mariner pitching since coming into the league. 324 career against Mariner pitching. Mariners kept him down when we were in Houston.
How about the 0 for 6 in Game 3 of that series? Typically, he really hurts the Mariners, but that was not the case.
2-0. It's only the second time he'd done an 0 for 6 in his young and brilliant career.
Well, let's hope he struggles for the next 3 days. Eventually, he's going to come out of it. He's a good player.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Well, we enjoyed a brief glimpse of the sun. Certainly worked for the opening ceremonies. It was beautiful for picture taking and for your video. 2-1. Ground ball to Cano. Nice inning here by Paxton. 1-2-3. Welcome back, Mariners. And how about that offense? Let's get something going here. Segura, Haniger, Cano when we come back. Second time in 5 days, the Mariners get a look at 33-year-old right-hander Charlie Morton. Coming up, Gene the hitting machine, Mr. Segura at the top of the order. Let's take a look at the rest of the Mariners hitters.
Segura off to a fast start, hitting .333 for the first week of the season. Mitch Haniger leads the club with 3 home runs. And Robinson Cano had 5 RBIs yesterday. You can see a double and a home run to go with the 5 RBIs. Hopefully that's a good sign for the Mariners. Gerard Dyson will round out the 9. Take a look at Charlie Morton last year. Just 4 games for him, a 4.15 ERA, just 17 in the third. But he did have 19 strikeouts. Fastball 94 to 96 miles an hour. and a hard curveball.
First pitch swinging. Segura fouls one off. Morton missed games most of last year with a torn left hamstring. Tore it coming right off the bone, running the first in Milwaukee last April. Segura 10 hits already, 10 for 30.
Team thought the pitch was down.
Mike Everett, the home plate umpire. See, the skipper's not thrilled with the call either.
State mentioned Charlie Morton just faced the Mariners. He went 6 innings in that outing in Houston. 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts.
Mike, it's nice to be back in our home ballpark. It looks great on the eye. It fits beautifully.
It's terrific. Yes.
Good crowd on hand, and a great broadcast location.
I know the guys are excited to be home too. It was a long spring this year. Of course, starting the season on the road, that didn't go particularly well, and now they're finally home.
Fought that off at the very last nanosecond. Send it into the Mariner dugout.
Well,
he's all over Segura.
Yeah, well, he's aware of the curveball, and it's been nothing but fastballs. His fastball so far, 94 to 97 miles an hour, and he can sink it. He'll try to run it in on the right-hander's hands. There's the breaking ball.
So in the series in Houston, the Mariners saw a lot of breaking balls, a lot of off-speed pitches. You look for Houston can stay on that game plan?
Oh, I think that they will. I mean, they're going to make you make the adjustment. If you think about it, though, you have Keuchel, who throws a lot of off-speed pitches in general. McCullers, his best pitch is his breaking ball. So those two pitchers typically throw a lot regardless of who they're facing.
And Davinsky, we saw plenty of that from him when he came out of the bullpen for that long stint. That was
4
unreal.
innings, 7 strikeouts for Davinsky. The good news is he pitched 4 innings yesterday, so he will not be available for today and probably tomorrow. And he's a quality reliever that the Mariners will not have to worry about here at the start of this series. I think he ended up getting the win yesterday.
He threw 60 pitches yesterday in 4 innings, 3 hits, 7 Ks, gave up a home run. Here's a 1-2 pitch here to Segura. That's a good battle.
Making him work. There's the breaking ball again. For Charlie Morton, 7 pitches, 6 strikes.
Charlie began his big league career with Atlanta in 2008, then went to Pittsburgh from 09 to 15, and last year with the Phillies. It's a big time at bat. Rich Haniger's on deck. Squibber to first, handled by Gurriel, 1 out.
And a look at the defense. Marwin Gonzalez, freaks to seeing him on the infield, typically at first base, but he'll get the start in left field. Spurrier covers a lot of ground in right, and Josh Reddick, we know him. Strong throwing arm from the A's, now playing for the Houston Astros. Correa and Altuve, nice combination up the middle, and Evan Gattis will do the catching.
Rich Haniger, 1 for 4 yesterday, scored a couple of runs, hit a home run in the 7th.
How about the home run that he hit to center field yesterday?
Impressive.
Dead center field on a line. The exit velocity on it was 105.
Haniger with 3 home runs, leading the Mariner Ball Club here in the early going.
Let's see if he can get a fastball that he can handle right here.
He's got 6 hits, 3 of them for a home run, 1's a double. Big man from the Bay Area, grew up a Giants fan. 2 stops in the minors last year with the Arizona organization and named the minor league player of the year. All the little kids out here at the ballpark, good to see them with mom and dad. Here comes a 2-1. Got the corner, says Mike Everett. 2-2.
One of the things that we saw from Charlie Morton in Houston is with his fastball, when he starts it off the plate away, he'll try to run it back on the corner, and that's what happened to that last pitch. You cannot give up on it if you're a right-handed hitter.
Cano's on deck. Big day yesterday with 5 runs batted in. 2-2. Bounce foul past Maniacta. Coaching at third. Casey Candell at first. There's Manny, former manager of Cleveland or Washington. Casey Candell. Nice career in Montreal and Houston. And one of the funniest men on the planet. Casey Candell. Here's a 2-2 pitch coming to Haniger. Full count. Robbie waits. They give Haniger the right side of the infield. And Altuve on the left side with Correa and Bregman. 3-2 pitch. Fouled it off.
Continue to make him work. 16 pitches to get 1 out so far. A lot of pitches to Segura. Now this will be the 8th pitch of the at bat to Haniger.
Happy opening day, everybody, as we come to you from Safeco Field here in Seattle with darkening, threatening leaden skies north of here. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Foul off again. Those skies get any darker are going to be calling for Annie M.
I think it's raining all around the ballpark right now.
Three-two pitch. Strike 3 call. Got him. 11th K for Haniger here in the early going. 2 outs.
Again, it's going to be the 2-seamer off the outside corner, brings it back and just touches the edge of the plate. Nice job by Gaddis to frame the pitch. So it looks like Mike Everett is going to open up the outer half of the plate. James Paxton could take advantage of that as well.
Well, here's Robinson Cano. 2 for 5 ribbies yesterday. 3-run homer in the 3rd. The Mariners were looking great. 4-1. The lead got to, well, you know the story.
The good news is he hit the ball on the button 3 times yesterday, while the other time he lined out right at the shortstop.
Straight up in the infield, and Robbie tries one to the gap. Going back. 1 hop against the fence. And Robinson Cano dialed in a 2-out double here in the 1st. Picking up where we left off yesterday, Mike.
Hit it right on the button. They tried to get in on his hands, and this is the thing that we saw last year, an area that he really improved in when he was healthy, because it ended up being a perfect pitch on the inside corner, and he turns on it. I like that he was aggressive on the fastball. When you look at Charlie Morton, the league hitting just .053 against his curveball last year, so try to get after the heater if you can. And Cano ends up getting himself into scoring position with a couple of outs.
3rd double for Robinson Cano, team leader in that category. If there was ever a guy you're wishing for to get off the schneid, you're looking at him. Nelson Cruz just 2 for 25. And he struck out 11 times. He's hitting .080. You know that's not going to stay in that neighborhood for much longer.
No, some pitchers are going to have to pay for that.
Way outside. Good count for Nelly. It was 1 for 6 against Charlie Morton. 2 outs. Cano at second. Long look by Morton. He's ready. 2-0. Back in the count, 2-1. Two-one pitch. High fly ball right center. Springer's under it. That'll do it for the Mariners. They do get a Robinson Cano double, strand him there. Second inning coming up, and James Paxton off to a good start. Let's see how deep he can go against these Astros in a scoreless game right now. Seattle Mariners baseball here on Root Sports, being brought to you by your local Ford stores. By Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. By the Emerald Queen Casino, presenting Cage Sport MMA with the toughest of the tough, April 22nd. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. And by Primera Blue Cross, your hometown health plan for 84 years. Close the roof up here in Seattle as we start inning number 2 with Carlos Correa at the plate. Looks at ball 1. Correa, Beltran, and Gaddis, middle of the order. Paxton with a strikeout in the first inning. Correa's 2 for 12 against him.
James topped out at 97 miles an hour in the first.
Infield straight up. Martin moving a couple steps to his right in center field. Two-one pitch. Off the fist. That was such a good pitch last week down in Houston.
He had tremendous command of it, and right-handed hitters are just not used to seeing a lefty with the arm angle he has throwing at the velocity that he has, and he lived on their hands, and eventually it opened things up for his curveball. He would bury his curveball in the dirt, and because they were cheating to try to get to that good fastball inside.
Kick save. Seager bare hand. No. Base hit.
And it looks like James is fine. He ends up jamming him. He didn't hit it hard. It was right off of his foot. Kyle trying to make the play. Another fastball up and in on him. Well located pitch.
That was not near as scary as the ball to comebacker yesterday against Matt Shoemaker, but taking one off the side of his head last year here against off the bat of Kyle Seager. Here's Beltran. Switch hitter, DHing today. Got heater at 95, strike one. Mike, with the temperature dropping from 54 to 51 degrees, Paxton living on right-handers' hands cannot be a good feeling.
Well, no,
I mean, taking a bat out of your hand.
Right, and typically when you're cold like this as a hitter, you're going to end up squeezing that bat a little bit harder anyway. And then all of a sudden he does that and straightens you up. Yeah, it's going to be difficult for the hitters today if he's able to locate inside, and so far he's been able to do that.
And such an important, obviously, such an important part of hitting. Good block by Zunino. Ball 2-2-2. And the other thing, you know he's coming in there. So in terms of cheating, what do you have to do?
Well, as far as the hitters go, yeah, they're going to have to get started early, and that's the reason. What we saw is because he consistently stayed in there after a couple of innings of that, or at least the first time through the lineup. That's when he started to bury the curveball down, because the guys were trying to get their bats started early to catch up to it. They ended up chasing a lot of curveballs that were in the dirt. And I think that he would like to see it. In fact, there was a couple we mentioned his pitch count at 100 through 6. It was actually could have been better than that for him, but on a couple of those strikeouts in the dirt, the ball ended up getting away from Mike, and the hitters ended up reaching base even though they ended up striking out. So hopefully they might keep it right in front of him.
There's another one in on Beltran, fouled back.
And he has no chance to hit that pitch. 95 miles an hour. You can see it's up out of the strike zone and in on his hands.
Do it again at 2-2. Correa chase back. Beltran, number 4 in the all-time switch hitting home run parade behind Mantle, Murray, and Chipper Jones. Grab ball fair. Seager, they get one. I don't get Beltran. A slow developing play. So one away with Beltran at first. Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing, you know what, it's forever going to be on display right here at Safeco Field. A statue commemorating his Hall of Fame career. It's going to be unveiled this week when fans join us Friday, and they're going to get a free commemorative statue. Plus, the kid's going to be right here in this ballpark to throw out the first pitch. Swing by Mariners.com. You better do it. Get those tickets. Good to have Junior back. Great retirement ceremony last year. There's Gaddis catching today. Looks a strike one. Evan 2 for 3 with 3 walks and an RBI in yesterday's game at home against Kansas City, salvaging a game in that series. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Royals. Strike 2. Gaddis 5 for 14 in the early going, and against James Paxton he's 4 for 12.
Martin had been over in left center field, but now with 2 strikes moves towards right center.
Throw down to second as Beltran took off. They had a chance to get that double play. They do. That worked out well.
Perfect.
So a strikeout, and then they get Beltran wandering. No score. Bottom 2 coming up. Here at Safeco Field, the home opener for the Mariners. Let's review that last play, Mike.
Well, as you can see, the breaking ball in the dirt. Mike blocks it. I'm not sure Beltran, the veteran, he thought maybe it was going to get further away from Mike. But it worked out great for the Mariners. Gaddis takes off. I don't know if that fooled Beltran, so he decided to leave. But it was a great play by Zunino. He knew what was going on the entire way.
Boy, that got Beltran in a pickle. I think you're right.
And it saves Paxton with his pitch count, too.
I think you make a good point when Beltran probably got confused when Gaddis took off. I think that might have been the biggest factor. Here's Seager.
The good news is it certainly helped the Mariners, and it'll save Paxton a few pitches in the long run as he gets the double play out of it.
Seager, Valencia, and Martin here in the second.
Houston they have the shift on with Kyle hitting.
Slow start for Kyle at 3 for 23. Mariners have a Robinson Cano double. He was left stranded in the first inning. Charlie Morton has got Seager 0-2. Did he go? He did, says Jordan Baker, third base umpire. It's the second strikeout for Morton.
And then we talked about his curveball, and hard to lay off of it. He has a good fastball, 94 to 96 miles an hour.
Here's Danny Valencia in his Mariner home debut. Slow start for him as well. 4 for 28. 1 RBI. He has a double amongst his 4 base hits. Strike one. Breaking ball, sweeping breaking ball for strike 2. They give him the right side of the infield. The 0-2 pitch. Ball 1.
Just missing the outside corner.
Certainly get a big fill of Houston to start this season. 4 games down there, 3 here. Next time we see the Astros will be here at Safeco Field June 23, 24, 25. Big wave. 2 outs. Third strikeout for Morton coming up tomorrow. We'll see just Joe Musgrove again against Ariel Miranda. Miranda, not a bad performance in his initial outing. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned.
He's still pretty good. I think he threw 81 pitches in that outing. Pretty good fastball command. Was able to get to his split and changeup.
There's Martin. The hands are totally back to where they were last year. It seems like it's been an incremental move the last 3 days. Now he's back to where he was in 2016. Started off, what, about belt level?
A lot where Segura's similar to where Segura starts, with his hands low.
Martin.
It's one of the things when you make those adjustments, Dave, is it all works well when you're hitting in the cage in the wintertime. You know what I mean? But you're not going to know until you actually get out there for real.
Right, you're hitting 850 in the cage.
Yeah, and then, you know, the hands are down. That's a big adjustment. And so he tried it. It didn't work. Put them back where they were at, where he hit 15 home runs last year. Career high for him.
Ball and 2 strikes. He had Bregman way in on the grass. Now they shift over. As we saw the Astros do a lot of this with 2 strikes last week. One, 2. Ball 2 to Martin. Mike Zunino's on deck for the Mariners. Strike three called. Strikes out the side. Two swinging, one looking. Third inning coming up. Scoreless ball game. Welcome to that youngster. MLB history take you back to 1989. Ken Griffey Jr. debut here at the Kingdom, and he goes opposite field for a home run. One of his 630 took him to the Hall of Fame, and this place must have just rocked, given all the adulation he had coming up and the numbers he'd put up in the minor leagues. And there he is in his debut at Kingdom. He goes yard. Ken Griffey Jr. He'll be with us on Friday. Statue unveilment. There's Marwin Gonzalez, switch hitter. Down in Houston, batting left-hand. He shot one into the Crawford boxes for a home run. He and McCann on that day. Bottom third of the order. He's followed by Reddick and Gurriel. Paxton with 2 strikeouts thus far. Giving up an infield hit. That's it.
They've seen Junior hit that home run opposite field like that. Made me think about it. He used to come out for early batting practice, and that's all he would do is hit the ball out the other way. And then when regular BP and the band started showing up, that's when he would go upper deck to right. But during his early batting practice, he would hit it that way all the time.
He takes a lot of pride. I know, talking to him over the years now, you hear a lot of stories of him talking about the work he would do at 1 o'clock in the morning when people weren't watching. Then, you know, like you said, when it was showtime, you know, let's go. Two balls, 2 strikes. Right field from Mitch Haniger, his first, make that his second touch as a Mariner right fielder here at Safeco Field. And this is opening day, and we get to welcome one of our good friends, Mark McLemore, one of the great Mariners, one of the great utility men. Boy, I tell you what, you were in there all the time at some spot, right?
I was. I enjoyed every minute of it, playing different positions all over the field. As long as I got to that box 4 or 5 times a night, I was good.
There you go. You were part of the pregame ceremony, throwing out the first pitch with what, Harold Rupert and Willie Bloomquist. That was a lot of fun watching you guys get, you know, come in and do your deal.
It was a lot of fun, and you know, we were all worried about bouncing the ball. You
Amen,
know
brother.
Couldn't let that happen. So no, that's a great honor to be able to throw out the first pitch. We all enjoyed it. Obviously, good catching up with some of the guys that I played against for years. And Rupert Jones was one of those guys. I was the young guy coming up when he was with the Angels. So a guy that took care of me that I hadn't seen in an awfully long time. So, yeah, just great catching up with all the guys.
That's beautiful. fondest Mariner memory? What do you got?
Oh, absolutely. When we clinched in 2001. Having the opportunity, the honor of carrying the American flag around this field. That was such a beautiful moment for me personally as an American. It was just a great time for me. That was awesome. It was one of those things that just wasn't planned. It just happened. You know, we had a little discussion before the game started, you know, that, hey, you know, we know we're going to clinch at some point. Whenever we do, we don't want to do the traditional, you know, pop the champagne and all that. And so we just decided to have it very subdued, and we were going to share it with the fans, and that's what we did. And all of a sudden the flag comes out, it goes around to a few guys, and it gets to me, and guys just said, hey, let's just, you know, start pushing, and we just started walking it around. So that was a special moment for me, probably the most memorable and the most special moment of my baseball career.
And you had a good run, too. How many years you played?
19.
Yeah, that's a great run.
That's a great run.
Not too bad. Not too bad. I did good.
Man.
I was fortunate enough to retire the day before my 40th birthday. That was my last year in 04. So, yeah, it was that was another dream of mine, to retire.
On your terms, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. I'll hold you over here. We got a lot of things we want to talk to you about. Mark McLemore joining us here, and that's a fine inning by James Paxton. Coming up for the Mariners, Mike Zunino, followed by Gerard Dyson making his Mariner home debut, and Gene Segura when we get back. Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Here's Mike Zunino, bleeding one, base hit, take it, and a happy birthday to 9-year-old Cameron from Snohomish, and welcome to the ballpark. Mark McLemore with us, and got a limited schedule of doing wraparound work with the Texas Rangers. What are we looking for when they come into town this weekend?
Well, hopefully they'll start playing a little bit better than they did against Cleveland. They did just take 2 out of 3 from Oakland, so they're starting to. They've been swinging the bats from day one, so that's been the good thing. The pitching, the bullpen just hasn't been where they've wanted to. Sam Dyson's the closer, has blown a couple of saves early, but I think they should be okay. Yu Darvish is back healthy. Cole Hamels is, ready to go, and Martin Perez, the top 3 starters. They're throwing the ball pretty well so far.
And Dyson going to take his base. Hit by a pitch. The Mariners have the first 2 men aboard. A.J. Hinch coming out to question home plate umpire Mike Everett.
And it looks like it's a breaking ball, down and in, just not able to get his feet out of the way. Maybe off the top of his foot.
Get him on the back foot. So 2 men aboard. Dyson He's at first. Zunino is at second.
I have to ask him a question because it's something that I think about all the time, especially now that we're removed from the game ourselves and playing for a while. But you mentioned that 2001 team. Do you ever look back at that or think about what could have been? As the Mariners organization trying to get into the World Series, because I do in '95. I think about that one-game playoff, which was a great game. It was one of the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. But it also, I felt, cost us from getting to the World Series because Randy had to pitch that game.
Right.
And then I think about that team in 2001, probably the best team that's ever been in this city, and you guys were rolling.
I'll tell you what, we were rolling. We weren't playing on all cylinders going into the postseason, and that was the problem. We had played so well at such a high level for so long, and that was from day one.
Right.
Basically to the end of the season, and we ran up against a club that, quite frankly, has some Hall of Famers on it.
Right.
There's no question about it. The Yankees knocked us out, obviously. You know, Jeter, Pettit, Cone, you know, that crew, Posada, Rivera out in the bullpen. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
They were the best team. They were the team that were playing the best baseball at that particular time. So yes, I think that was definitely our best chance of winning the World Series, and it doesn't haunt me. I would have liked to have had a different outcome for sure. I would love to have a ring on, you know, with Seattle on it, but it just didn't happen. But you know, it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't diminish any years that I've had. Just to be able to play in the major leagues, even if it's just for a day, is obviously a dream come true.
On that team, was that the most fun you had playing? Because it was fun to watch.
No question. I mean, we came to the ballpark, and I don't want this to sound bad in any way, shape, or form. We had confidence. We weren't a cocky team. We had a little bit of swagger for sure, but we knew we were going to win that day.
Right.
And we even had stretches of where we would talk about how much we were going to win by. Wow. It was that good. Listen, I've never been on a team to where the opposing team would score, and we would come back the next half and put up at least what they put up. If they scored 3, we didn't score 1 or 2. We scored at least 3 and probably more. So having fun, that was just, it was all a part of it. And of course, when you're winning, you're going to have some fun.
Ground ball to Correa to Altuve. That's all they'll get. Hey, Mark, always a pleasure, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me. Always good to see you guys.
We'll see you shortly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you
bet. This weekend.
Best of the family and everybody.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Mark McLemore joining us here. Mariners with that force of Dyson. It's 1 away. Runners at the corners. Segura, fielder's choice. Opportunity here for Haniger and a discussion. And they're going to take a look at it.
Whatever it was, the timing of the play around second, it looked a little bit awkward. Take a look at the feet and see if he has contact with the base when he's catching the baseball. That is close.
Yes, it is. Good. Oh, man. Chris Prieto got to Scott's service quickly and say you may want to have him take a look at that. Good work by Chris.
And a good job by Dyson, too. A nice hard slide straight in the way you're supposed to do it. A clean slide. And they're not sure, so they're going to have him take a look. Again.
It's like Chris nailed that. All right, so we'll await word as they check back with MLB down in Manhattan at the Chelsea headquarters on 9th Avenue, about 15th Street. Tell you what, if it works out for the Mariners, bases are going to be loaded.
Yeah, and you would certainly like Dyson's speed out at second base.
There we go. What's the verdict, boys? What do we got? Out. All right, 1 away. Runners at the corners. Call stands. Bruce Dreckman, the umpire at second base.
Scott doesn't like it. He thought he saw enough of the replay on the video screen here in the ballpark, and when they made that call, he was not happy about it.
Mariners out of challenges till 8th inning. when they can ask for a review. But boy, it looked like they had a good case. So 1 out. Zunino's at third. Segura's at first. You get Cano on deck.
And how about a little inside out swing right here? They have the shift on with Haniger hitting. The entire right side of the infield is open for him.
Pitch him out that way for strike one. .137 on that review time. Oh, on to Haniger. And he goes. Oh no! They got him. Oh, what a bad break. He tried to go right side and did, and hit it to the one spot you didn't want it to go to. Oh, that's a tough one right there. Look at this. Sawed him off. Right to Gurriel. Applies the tag. Double play. Inning over. Back with more after this. Brought to you by Mattress Firm. It's the first game of 81 here at home. Houston for two more after this, and then an off-day Thursday. Texas comes to town, followed by Ichiro and the Marlins before the Mariners head off to the road. Oakland, and then hopefully not too cold weather in Detroit and Cleveland to wrap up the month. Taylor Motter takes over at shortstop. We'll let you know when we find out what happened to Gene Segura. Mike, you think it might have been a shoulder and the dive back into first?
Yeah, when he was trying to keep from being doubled off and he had to dive back in. It was an awkward looking dive and he came off the field. I don't know if it's a shoulder or maybe his hand, but you can see him trying to avoid the tag.
Oh, it's stuck. Yeah, that was reaching it. Fouled back by
and it didn't
Springer.
take long. As soon as he was coming off the field, that was going to be it.
He knew he was in trouble right there. That's leading hitter for the Mariners, so they'll take the rest of the game off, and hopefully that's not something that'll keep him out for a significant piece of time. Pitch bounces up there, 2-1.
Taylor Motter, utility man for the Mariners. His primary position has been shortstop, so he should be fine out there.
2-1 pitch. Springer in there for a strike. Second time through. Springer led off the ball game. A 3-1 pitch flied out to right. Only hit given up by Paxton so far. Leadoff single into second. It was a comeback off the bat of Correa. Hit him on the right foot. Bounced to Seager. Couldn't throw him out. Slice to right field. Battling the lights. Nice job, Mitch Haniger. His first game here at Safeco Field.
And it's typically on these little low line drives. You can see him trying to get an angle, but stays with it, makes the catch. Good concentration.
One away brings up Alex Bregman. He struck out first time. 4 Ks for Paxton. No walks. Center field for Martin. Easy play. 2 down.
See the quick outs. Good fastball in on his hands.
It's great talking to Paxton during Fan Fest, in the Caravan, and then in spring training. You want to talk about a guy that's that strong confidence.
He's determined, isn't he?
Oh my goodness. Completely healthy, newly married, a lot of things working for him. Couldn't be happier for him. Nice kid. Lefty from Ladner up in British Columbia. Altuve grounded out to Robbie Cano. Straight up. That's how they play Altuve. It's an easy 97, Mike.
Yeah, and like he missed the inside corner, but it still had an effect when you pitch inside.
2-time batting champion Altuve.
And watching James, talk a lot about the velocity, but I thought that last year, especially when he first came up and was hit around a little bit, and you wondered why. That was the reason why I talked to him about it. He was having a hard time finding the angle to get the fastball to the inside corner. Kept running back out in the middle of the plate. It's something he's worked really hard at, and I thought that his outing in Houston was terrific, and he's doing it again today. When he wants to go inside, if he misses, he'll miss in off the plate as opposed to out over the plate.
Astros come into today's game 6th in batting in the American League at 238. 3rd in hits. And walked it, first walk. Let's check in with Bill Kruger right now. And Bill, big lefty yourself, what do you think of Paxton to this point here in the 4th?
Well, I mean, he looks special. We saw him down in Houston. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs. I mean, he overwhelmed them. And it looks like the Astros today are trying to be patient with him, but still he's getting ahead. He's using his fastball on both sides. Great curveball. I mean, they're in defense. They're in a defensive position so far in facing him even the 2nd time around. So James looks great to me. He's mixed in a cutter. He's mixed in a changeup. Really doesn't really need those pitches. When you got 97 on both sides command and a really good curveball, it's almost enough.
Bill, what about, well, this will be a 2-part question for you. One, in his last outing, 6 innings, he ended up throwing 100 pitches. This club, they're looking for a starter or 2 to get deep into games. One, do you think he's somebody that could throw 115, 120 and be fine? Or is there a way for him to be more efficient so he can get deeper?
Well, he's a power pitcher with strikeout stuff. And the more you pitch curveball, fastball in, the more you're going to amp your pitch count. I mean, if he wants to cut his pitch count, throw some more fastballs away and let him put it in play early. But, you know, that's not the style of pitcher he is. He's a power, you know, Chris Sale. I don't want to jump to Randy Johnson, but I mean, he's that kind of pitcher, and he's also built to throw a lot of pitches. Sometimes the line isn't the same for everybody. The magical pumpkin line of 100 pitches where Cinderella goes home. I mean, he can pitch a lot more than that because that's just the belt body he is.
This one drops in front of Martin. Holding at second is Altuve, so it's the 2nd hit of the ball game, both of them by Carlos Correa. Bill, thanks so much. Good analysis of James Paxton. See Bill, Dave Valley, and Brad Adam on Mariners post game presented by Alaska Airlines later on this afternoon.
And I agree with Bill. Even that last pitch was a good fastball in on his hands. He was able to fight it off for the base hit. But as far as him being able to maybe take a heavier load pitch count wise, because when you talk to James when he comes out and he's thrown 100 to 110 pitches, he's still throwing 97 miles an hour, and he'll look at you and tell you, because we've heard it, that he's fine. And he felt that he could go another inning if they asked him to. And maybe this is the year, 28 years old, that they start asking him to.
How many times have you seen left-handers too? This is the time they, and a lot of athletes, come into their prime at age 28, 29.
Well, he's had a couple of things that he's had to work through. One is injury, and we've all talked about that. But the other is that arm angle too, trying to figure out how he could be as consistent as possible, and that's going to help his pitch count too. Making the pitches and hitting his spots will help him with that. That'll help him also. So I think it's just that time for him.
Carlos Beltran, 0-2 the count. Did he go? Did not, as they check with Milwaukee at first base.
This is what makes it tough. After the fastball inside, he'll bounce the curveball, and Beltran, the veteran hitter, just able to check his swing. You'll see his curveball in the dirt quite a bit. That's by design. That's what he's trying to do to get you to chase it.
2 outs, 2 on, a 1-2 pitch coming to Beltran. Cano trying to hold out Tuve at second. Pitch. Blocked nicely by Zunino. 2-2. Just joining us, Gene Segura, the Mariners' leader in hits, suffered an injury diving back into first base on a double play. Had to leave the game. Taylor Motter is in at shortstop. 2-2 pitch. Full count. Runners will be on the move.
Evan Gattis waiting on deck.
Playing Beltran straight up and out. Martin moves a step to his right. 3-2 pitch. Runners take off. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. A big one for James Paxton. His 5th of the afternoon. Strands 2 and the Houston 4th to keep this a 0-0 ball game. Sports being brought to you by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. Buy steel. To find your local steel dealer, visit steeldealers.com. And by Virginia Mason Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Along with Mike Blowers and the Root Sports crew, I'm Dave Sims. Delighted to be home as we come to you above the A at Safeco Field. They pulled the roof. Covers up here. James Paxton, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, no runs on 2 hits against this Houston Astros ball club. Big boys coming up here in the home 4th. You got Cano, you got Cruz, you got Seager against Charlie Morton. Robbie fouls one off. First pitch swinging in the 1st inning. He doubled to right center field.
Better pitch that time from Morton. I think it's a good idea to be aggressive with him. Take his fastball away early if you can, because he has a really good breaking ball, and the Mariners having a tough time dealing with it. So hit the fastball. So for Robbie, that last pitch was painted. It was right on the outside corner with a little bit of run to it as he fouled it off.
Breaking ball, 0-2.
It's a tough pitch. Again, last year only 4 starts, 17 innings. The opposition did nothing with this curveball, an .050 batting average.
Nelson Cruz on deck. Ball and 2 strikes. Mariners would love to get on some kind of roll against this Houston ball club. Been tough sledding since they came into the American League. 1-2. Foul off. Mariners last year 8-11 against Houston. 7-12 the year before. They do have 2 winning campaigns. In 2013 he went 10-9, and he went 10-9 in the next year. And they had to rally, I believe, in both of those years to get above 500 against them. Mariners winning just 1 out of the 4 games in Houston to open the series this season. Just outside, ball 2. Cano, a huge spark Mariner offense yesterday. Driving in 5 runs, a 3-run homer and a 2-run double. 2-2 pitch. We're looking for some runs, darken a diamond. Maybe Cano, Cruz, and Seager be your answer. Everybody has a different way of scoring. I'd like to see that. So many ways. Is Robbie trying to walk it off after fouling one off?
It's been a steady diet of curveballs. That last one he hit like off his ankle, maybe the top of his foot. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Out in front of the breaking ball.
Oof.
Yeah, that one little gap in his protection, and that's where it ends up hitting.
That's how Achilles got it. You know, he had everything covered but that heel. Tough break. Soldiers on now with a 2-2 count.
Well, Cigar out. He doesn't have much choice.
More than that, the truth. Two pitch. Fouls it back. 2-2 count. Both teams no runs, 2 hits, no errors. Big crowd here at Safeco Field for the home opener. 3-2. Good look at all folks who've come out, and welcome the Mariners back home. Good day to get some new gear too, right, Dad? 3-2 pitch. Hit hard and foul. Look out.
And he didn't give into him. It was another breaking ball. That one was elevated a little bit.
Eleventh pitch coming up. Thought Morton might speed it up a little bit. He's giving Cano more time to shake it off. Maybe that pain goes down a little bit. See if he can get a touch of all here. 3-2. He'll be a base runner. First walk issued by Charlie Morton. It's part of the Mariners 40th anniversary celebration. A Mariners team store is offering a great lineup of apparel and souvenirs. Make sure to check out the 40th anniversary jersey, complete with the commemorative patch that will be worn by the team this season. They're available right now at the Mariners team stores. Walking by the team store on First Avenue side of Safeco Field. A lot of new gear, colored combinations. A lot of good stuff for you folks for the 2017 season. Nelson Cruz Swing and a miss. Flied out to center field on a 2-1 pitch to end the first.
A little bit late on that fastball. And Morton's fastball has been 94 to 96 miles an hour. It's a two-seamer, has some movement to it.
Cano at first with a throbbing foot. Nelly fouls one off. Well, this is where he was a year ago. Right now, he would take that. He's at 080 coming into today's game. Hit 17 of his home runs last year at home, 26 on the road. 0-2 to Nelly. Up the middle, base hit. Cano will shut it down at second base. Get the stroke back. Bears have the first 2 men aboard.
And the good news is it just takes a couple of good days and that batting average will look a lot better for him as he goes right back up the middle to take a look at our Snoqualmie Casino Super Mo, and that is on the barrel. Good to see as he drives it back through the middle. Correa has good range at short but not able to catch up to that one.
Kyle Seager looking to get going as well. Chance to do some damage here. Ball 1. Kyle in good shape at 2-0. Base hit by Cruz, Mariners' third hit. 2-0 to Kyle. Is that going to be enough to skip down? Yes, it does. Everybody safe. The bases are loaded for the Mariners. And an opportunity for Danny Valencia. Base hit, Kyle Seager. That's his 4th of the early going here.
He's going to hit it right off the end of the bat. Ball is probably spinning sideways. Stayed in the air for a while, but Altuve not able to get there. Excuse me, Correa just out of his reach. And Robbie doing the right thing. Maybe about halfway and see if it's going to hit the ground or not.
Valencia is the hitter now. A golden opportunity with the bases loaded and nobody out. Scoreless ball game here in the Mariners home opener. First pitch from Morton. Outside, ball 1. Danny struck out on a 1-2 pitch. Second inning was a good inning for Morton. He struck out Seager, Valencia, and Martin, striking them all out. Got Martin looking.
He was able to get Valencia on that breaking ball off the plate away.
That's out of play. Danny 1 for 6 runners in scoring position so far through the first 7 ball games. Want to take advantage of this. Center fielder Springer, not very deep. Same for all the outfielders. Here's the 1-1. Late. Ball and 2 strikes.
Back-to-back fastballs, both of them at 96, and you can see they're right on the inside corner. See if he goes back to his breaking ball now that he's ahead.
Best opportunity to this point for the Mariners. 1-2 here to Valencia with the bases loaded. And a weak wave and a pitch well outside the zone. That's a 5th strikeout for Morton. 1 away.
After a couple of fastballs on the inside corner, he comes back and just buries this breaking ball. He has a sharp breaking ball today. Good play by Gaddis to keep it in front of him, save a run. See if Martins can pick him up.
Take a call, 3rd strike, and a 2-2 pitch, ending the 2nd inning. Bregman in at 3rd, in at 1st is Gurriel. Inside to Martin. Ball 1. They give him a big gap between Springer and Reddick. Center fielder and right fielder. Now Springer moving back towards his left. Slice foul. 1-1. Three base runners. Nowhere to put Martin. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Perfect location on that breaking ball. Martin swing right over the top of it on the inside corner, right at the knees.
Ball and 2 strikes. Struck him out. Back-to-back Ks with the bases loaded. That's 6 strikeouts in the 4th inning through 4 here for Charlie Morton. Leave it up to Zunino. Take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings in the West. Angels on top, coming off the sweep of the Mariners. Oakland, the Rangers struggling as well.
Well, Mike Zunino going to stand in. He was aggressive his first time up, had a base hit into left field.
Boy, a lot of room out there. They give him the right side of the infield.
And right center field.
Indeed, and outfield not deep. Bases loaded, now 2 outs. Takes a pitch inside. Inning started with Cano getting it to about 12-13 pitches. He walked. Solid single up the middle by Cruz. Seager dunked one in front of Springer and just over the outreach glove of Correa to load him up. But then Valencia, a weak wave on 1 and 2, and Martin swung through a 1-2 pitch. And now Zunino. They don't want to waste this opportunity. Mike. Not checked off the box that says grand slam as of yet. Breaking ball for a strike. 1-1.
Second base umpire is Bruce Dreckman. And if Mike, as far as he hits the baseball, could hit a line drive right over him, I think he'll clear the bases.
I agree.
There's a lot of room on the right side of the infield and right center field.
1-1 pitch to Mike. It went that way, but too high. It's going to hang up for Reddick, and the Mariners watch an opportunity just dissipate here in the 4th. They leave them loaded. Paxton more than upholding his end of the bargain here through 4. He's got 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, giving up no runs on 2 hits.
He has had an excellent fastball today. The location on the inner half has not been a problem. Using his curveball, occasional cutter and changeup with it. You can see 4 innings, just the 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for James.
And then Gaddis will lead it off. And he fouls one away. Just joining us, Gene Segura, Mariners hit machine. 0 for 2 for today, but that's not the headline. He had to leave after suffering an injury, diving back into first base back in the 3rd inning. And soft liner to the first baseman. And off the bat of Haniger, and Segura was taking his lead. Gurriel snagged it and then doubled up Segura. It looked like he might have jammed the right elbow or shoulder trying to get back into first base. Down low from Paxton. 2-1 here to Gaddis, followed by Marwin Gonzalez and Josh Reddick.
Another lead in this one as the Mariners just had the bases loaded. Cano, Cruz, Seager loaded up the bases with nobody out, and they weren't able to score. So Paxton's going to have to throw up some more zeros. Well, the offense has a chance to get on track.
Mariners had 6 men to the plate in the 4th. Valencia struck out, Martin struck out, and Zunino fly to right with the bases loaded. Bases loaded, nobody out. Two and 2 here to Gaddis. Settling under is Dyson. And Dyson, his first put out in Safeco Field as a Mariner. This season, the Mariners at Safeco Insurance bring you a triple play ticket night, and a lot of them. This special offer includes a ticket, a hot dog, and a Pepsi or beer for as low as $26. Make sure you join us for the first event this Wednesday against these Astros. Details at mariners.com/specials. One away from Marwin Gonzalez, flied out to right. Strike 1. Paxton had a 1-2-3 first, helped by a double play in the 2nd to face the minimum. A 1-2-3 third, walked the man and gave up a base hit in the 4th. A little bit outside with 95. Kind of like the way he's attacking. Josh Reddick's on deck. Big bender for a strike.
Well, we've talked about him using his breaking ball and basically throwing it in the dirt, trying to get guys to chase it. But in this at bat, he's been able to use it to get 2 strikes.
One-two pitch.
Good pitch.
Oh man, I'll say. Whew.
He had him set up for it with the 2 curveballs and hit his spot.
You know what else is good about it? You know, he missed that spot and he looked unfazed, right? You know, a lot of guys might.
He did take 1 step towards the 3rd baseline, thinking that it was going to round the horn, but he jumped right back up there.
3-2.
When all else fails, challenge him with 97 miles an hour.
Boy, it's nice to have that in the bag. Josh Reddick on deck. Struck out on a 2-2 pitch in his first at bat. Payoff here. And he lost him, bouncing in the dirt, 2nd walk. Hey, the Orchid card. It's all you need to ride the Sounder train. Link light rail, buses, ferries, and streetcars. Learn more at getorcasmart.com. A hamstring strain we hear for Gene Segura. Took him out of the game. No word on what his status might be for tomorrow. Sure he's getting treatment as we speak. Get well quickly, Gene. Josh Reddick, A's and the Dodgers last year. One out, one on. Pitch. Weak wave got him way in between. Reddick angry with himself. He's in a 0-2 hold.
I think you're going to see more and more of a teams just loading up right-handers against Paxton because of that arm angle and the velocity with the curveball. I think the only left-handed hitter in the lineup today for Houston.
Zunino, quick throw back safely. Is Gonzalez. Count 1-2 to Reddick. On 2 strikes. Throw over to first. One-two pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3 called. Could see Reddick flinch at that, baby. Half a dozen strikeouts for Big Pax, 2 down.
So difficult for the left-handed hitters, knowing that he has 97, 98 miles an hour, and you have to hang in there, and you can see it like a slider as he flinches a little bit, and that's enough. At bat over.
2 outs. Yuli Gurriel, swing and a miss, struck out to end the 3rd inning. Paxton has 6 strikeouts. So does Charlie Morton. Morton's walked 1. Pax has walked 2. One and 1. One. Right field for Haniger. The strand runner here, very nicely done by James Paxton, dealing with the bottom of the order. Coming up for the Mariners, Gerard Dyson, his 2nd time around. Taylor Motter make his debut at the plate here at Safeco Field. And Mitch Haniger, we got a heck of a pitching duel going on here in the Mariners home opener.
Everybody, Angie Mantic here at the Ford Sports Desk, wondering where you are watching today's opening day. Lots of fans getting down here to Safeco Field, like Nicole sending this one in. It's Addie's first game. Use that hashtag #WhereIRoot, presented by Alaska Airlines, and you can see your photo on the air. Guys, I have some bad news. The Grasshoppers apparently have sold out.
Get out of here, really?
No, I am totally serious. So I know you guys wanted a pair. I mean, I wanted some.
Where were they selling them? All over, or just one place?
They're out by Edgar's.
Okay.
I know, at least that's where I know thus far. Out by Edgar's porch, out in left field. So at least that location is no longer selling the Grasshoppers today.
Did you have some?
I did not. I don't know if I want to. I can't. I mean, I want to, but come on. You have the same reaction, right?
That would be correct. I did a talk show this morning in Dallas, and guy said, "Hey, you're gonna have some of those grasshoppers." I said, "Hey, man, brothers from Philly do not eat grasshoppers. I'm sorry."
They're supposed to be packed with protein. That's what I've been told.
Be that as it may. All right, Angie, thank you very much. 2-1 to Gerard Dyson. Hit by a pitch his first time up. Bounce, fair ball, lane run, out of the box hard. Reddick's got a good arm. Here's a throw to second, not in time. Leadoff double Gerard Dyson here in the Mariners' fifth.
It's right on the inside corner. And he puts a good swing on it, able to keep it fair. Oh, nice bounce off the turf right there. Keep it fair.
Wasn't that something?
Yeah, that was great.
Taylor Motter's going to come up here. Zoom by ya. He can motor.
Let's see if Taylor can move him over.
Taylor Motter played his college ball at Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers won the College World Series a couple of years ago. Back up the middle. Uh-oh. Play it third. Got him. Not what you were looking for.
Take a look at the dive. He's going to go to the back corner. It's hard to tell. They definitely put the tag on him. I couldn't tell if his hand was at the base.
Yeah, there you go.
He's out. And I think that's a situation right there, Dave, where with all these defensive shifts and guys moving is what fooled Dyson on that one, because that ball hit back up the middle past the pitcher. He assumed no problem.
And hit hard.
And yeah. Correa was standing right there.
And that's one of those
when normally it would either be up the middle or the shortstop. If he gets to it, he's going to his left, ranging towards the outfield. No problem to get there.
And he's done that play all his life until now, right?
Exactly. They get pulled.
Mitch Haniger struck out looking and bounced into a double play. That's the play where Segura, diving back in the first, hurt himself the hamstring strain. Hunter's got good speed. They give Haniger the entire right side of the infield. Outside. 1-1.
Talking to Taylor in spring training, he said that he really likes running the bases. Wants to cause some problems. Maybe they'll let him go try to steal a base.
Where the runs are not coming, probably not a bad call. He holds. This one hit down to third. Past Bregman's glove. Motter going to dig for third. He'll get there. Haniger going for two. Here's the throw. Not in time. Second and third. Still got an opportunity to cash in here in the fifth inning. A double by Mitch Haniger.
I think Altuve, he's looking to the dugout. When Mitch hit the base, and we've seen this a few times, it looks as if he popped up in the air. We'll take a look at the swing first. It's right down the line. Just missing the base. And Bregman not able to come up with it, but Altuve's looking to the dugout. Now you see the slide. When he hits the base, see if he pops up off the bag. Oh, it looked like his toe stayed on there. But you can see Altuve right away. You have to keep your foot on the base. It didn't used to be that way, but today's game, I think he's okay.
And they're not going to take a look at it.
The Mariners have the right guy coming to the plate right now. Nelson Cruz is due to get hot. He had a base hit up the middle after they intentionally walked Cano.
Boy, I see the Mariners come right back after Dyson gets thrown out at third. So now you got second and third, one out. Cano's aboard with the walk, and now the base is loaded. Nelly with his worst hitting month of April in his career. He is due. Exit ball one, and a crowd in big anticipation. Ready to erupt here at Safeco Field. A scoreless ball game. Outstanding pitching duel. Charlie Martin and James Paxton. The Cruz tier is up, and he's ahead in a count 2-0. Got a base hit, a hard hit single to center in the fourth. He's 1 for 2 today. He's got 48 career home runs in the month of April. 2-0 pitch. Base hit, center field. Bonner scores. Haniger getting a wave on. Cano to third. 2-0 Mariners. Nelson Cruz is heating up. Base hits in his last 2 times up, and the Mariners have the lead here in the home opener.
You just had to feel that you had the right guy coming to the plate. Intentionally walking Cano to pitch to him after he had a base hit his last time up. And he is their big RBI guy that things were going to change. And nice start to the homestand for Nelson Cruz. A couple of hits as he drives in 2 runs. Haniger had to make sure that the ball went through, but with his speed still able to score.
Cruz started the day 2 for 25. Today he's 2 for 3. Seager looking to get on track. Struck out and singled, a bloop single to center. Runners at the corners with 1 out.
Go, Kyle.
Big inning here for the Mariners against Charlie Morton. 2-0. First pitch to Siegs. Down low, ball 1.
For Morton, 84 pitches, 57 strikes. Tony Sipp, left-hander, starting to get loose in the pen for Houston. He is the only left-hander in their bullpen.
Danny Valencia's on deck. Seager trying to add to this tally here. 2 runs on 7 hits. That one fouled back. There's a 1-1 to Kyle. Advantage Seager.
Third time through the lineup for the Mariners, and a couple of pretty good takes from Kyle on the breaking ball, a pitch that the guys are having a tough time laying off of in Houston and at the start of this game. They're starting to get a better feel for it, better look.
2-0 Mariners looking for more. Breaking ball for a called strike 2. Seager, the 6th man to the plate here in the 5th inning. Cruz with his 2 for 3 has added 63 points to his batting average. Seager, drive to right. Catch made out there by Reddick. Tagging and scoring is Cano. It's 3-0 Mariners. Kyle picks up that run. It's his 4th run batted in. And a sacrifice fly in yesterday's game.
And it looks like it was on the breaking ball. Take a look at the swing by Kyle and where he catches it out in front. Maybe gets in on him just a little bit, just enough to keep him hitting it out of the ballpark.
Danny Valencia's third time. He's K'd twice today. Bouncing ball, shortstop Correa goes short way to Altuve, and a good inning nonetheless for the Mariners as they get 3 runs on 1, 2, 3 hits. Leave a man. Mariners on top 3-0. Big lead here, not a big lead, but a 3-0 lead as Dave Valley joins us right now. And Valley, got to love the excitement that brings to see Nelly put 60 points in his batting average with his second hit here today. And boys running around the bags today.
It really does. You know, 3 runs does feel like a big league, though, right?
Yeah.
But seeing Nelly come through in that situation, it's something about when the big guys do the job that you know that they're capable of doing. Whether it was Robinson Cano yesterday hitting the home run and the 2-run double, and then Nelly coming through today with that clutch base hit with the bases loaded to put the Mariners up on the board.
I thought, Val, that it says a lot about this club, too, after having such a tough week on the road, that they had the bases loaded the inning before, walked away with nothing, and they come right back and put the same pressure, and this time they break through.
Well, this is a club. I mean, we saw them do this last year, right? I thought that was really a big part of their DNA last year, that they fought. They fought all the way through each and every single game, and for them to do that back-to-back innings and not kind of, you know, get their head down because they weren't able to put anything on the board back in the 4th inning, it does say a lot about the character of this team. And, you know, we know, Blow, when you get off to such a slow start early in the season, everything is so magnified. If this was to happen in June or July, nobody would say anything other than, you know, the bats are down in a little bit of a slump. But this is a ball club that's going to put runs up on the board. And when you get Cano and Cruz and Kyle Seager coming through with that sac fly, when those guys are getting the job done, you're starting to feel really good about this ball club.
Yeah, to your point, I started to chuckle to myself when Dave said that with Nelson Cruz 2 for 3 today. He's raised his batting average 63 points. I thought, well, no, that's just the first week of April. hey, Val, I wanted to ask you, though, you've caught a lot of great pitchers and guys with great stuff. Where do you think Paxton is at, and what are your expectations for this left-hander?
You know, coming into the season last year, seeing some of the adjustments that he's made, it's just been really impressive to me. We always knew that he had a great arm, right? Even when he got up to the big leagues that first September, he was really impressive pitching against the Detroit Tigers in that lineup. But the stuff that this guy has is overpowering. And this curveball right here that he's able to break off, he can throw it in as a big looper, or he can throw it with a little bit more of a tighter break. He's got a chance to be really special. You know, you don't want to put so much pressure on a young guy like that, but watching him pitch in his first start of the season, watching him pitch here this afternoon, you start dreaming about what this guy could be. And if he can stay healthy and get 30 to 35 starts in a season, I'd love to see what he could do.
Well, Dave and I were talking about him earlier, and my comment was he's gone through a lot with the injuries. He's made some changes, but he's also 28 years old, and I just feel like this is the time for him to make that step.
Well, he's coming into the prime of a pitcher's life, right? 28 to 32. And as you mentioned, anytime you go through adversity, and you're going to go through adversity in this game, I think you come out on the other side stronger, with a stronger mental resolve. And I think some great things are ahead for Mr. Paxton.
All right, Val, thank you. Party on, my man. 3-0 Mariners. Paxton fielding his position and doing it well. A 1-2-3 6th. Sports being brought to you by Honda. Hurry in to the Honda Dream Garage Sales event today. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Primera Blue Cross, your hometown health plan for 84 years. You cannot beat this. Opening day, a day off from school, you get a baseball, you see a baseball game, life's good. Tony Sipp making yet another appearance against the Mariners.
Seems the Mariners see Tony Sipp in every series against Houston. Last year, 60 appearances, a 1-2 record, a 4.95 ERA, 40 strikeouts, over 18 walks. Opponents hit .297. He gave up 12 home runs.
Tony's going to get the bottom third of the order. Martin, Zunino, and Dyson. Tony Sipp, 40 career games against the Mariners. Look at that. That's why we always shake our head, Michael. 1.73 ERA. He has been murdered when he was with Cleveland and now with Houston. Last few years, here's Martin.
And for Charlie Morton, Mariners able to get to him. 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs they were earned, a couple of walks, 6 strikeouts, 89 pitches, 55 of those for strikes. Tony Sipp, his fastball, 89 to 91, has a split and a curveball.
Fouled off by Martin. Leonis has had an awful time against Tony. Martin's 0 for 10 against him. Zunino and Dyson to follow. Mariners got 3 runs on 3 hits in the 5th. Nelson Cruz singled in 2, and Seager delivered a sacrifice fly. Paxton threw 6. As you look at Michael Feliz, right-hander, out in the bullpen. Paxton struck out 7, walked 2, no runs on 2 hits. 1-2 to Martin. 2-2. Martin 0 for 2 today. Strikeout looking and swinging. Brutal start for him. 2 for 26. Bounce foul. Phillies during the series in Houston.
Hard throwing right-hander, mid to upper 90s with his fastball.
2-2 to Leonis. Ariel Miranda gets a start tomorrow against Joe Musgrove. Wrap up the series with Gallardo against Mike Fiers. First time we'll see Fiers this season. That'll be Wednesday. These next 2 nights will be out at 7:10 first pitch. Yank foul. Look out. 6:30 pregame here on Root Sports. Two pitch. And out of the glove of Gaddis.
He may have struggled against Zip, but he's making him work right here. See all the pitches, 8 pitches so far in the at bat, so he's battling. He's trying to make something happen.
Tony out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. Lives in Moss Point, Mississippi.
And he's seen everything from him. His fastball is topped out at 92, and he's also mixed in the slider and the split.
Another Mississippian in the game is Gerard Dyson, who's from Macomb, Mississippi.
Pitch at bat.
Good battle here to open up the home 6th. Casey Kendall has to do a little dance step to get out of the way. Always limber down there in the first base coaching box, keeping everybody loose. Right about now, Sip and Martin are pretty sick of each other. And he finds a hole, base hit right side. Good start to the Mariners' 6th. Make sure you follow Mariners Baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, your #1 app for live baseball. Good to see Martin.
See him get paid off up to that at-bat. What a battle.
3rd hit of this young season. Here's Mike Zunino.
Houston has the shift on with Mike hitting. Mike is 1 for 2, so the entire right side open. Pretty good lead for Martin.
Ball 1 to Mike. Mike flied out to right field, ending the 4th inning with the bases loaded. The Mariners come back the next inning, load them up, and cash it in. They get 3 runs. Mike's ahead 2-0. Zunino 0 for 1 against Tony Sip.
I think against the left-hander, he's going to give him the green light.
Dyson's on deck.
He didn't get a fastball he likes.
Gave it a run.
And he wasn't trying to push a ground ball through the right side on that swing, which he should not. With a 3-0 count, cut it loose.
He's trying to go back to Edgar's where he went a couple times last year when he got called up from Tacoma. 3-1 to Mike. Runner goes. Pitch. Throw down to second. High and late. And he's able to stay on the bag. Stolen base for Martin. That's his second. He's 2 out of 3.
He went on first move. It was an easy steal for him, as long as he can stay on the base.
He was looking in. See what
it's pretty good that he was able to keep his toes on there.
Right? Tippy toes. That's exactly it. Trips over himself. Altuve wasn't missing anything.
Mike a chance to drive in a run. Mariners are 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
3-2 pitch to Mike. Home opener for the Mariners, and right now a 3-0 lead, looking to add to that total. Nobody out here. Martin at second here in the 6th inning. Good crowd here at Safeco Field. Wolf has been extended to cover things up here. Back in the first pitch. Taken for ball 4. So Jose Altuve, let's see what he's trying to work at second base. The fake hit ball trick, or I can hear Martin. Hey man, he didn't have a ball.
Bregman, the third baseman, will come play in on the grass, try to take the bunt away from Dyson. Gurriel, the first baseman, is doing the same.
So 2 guys from Mississippi battling now, Dyson and Tony Sipp. Throw to third, and they got him. The ball just died. So Martin out 2-5. 1 out, moving to second. Coming up tomorrow, CenturyLink brings you what's next. Joe Musgrove against Ariel Miranda. Game 2 of this 3-game set with the Houston Astros. Right now, pitching change is A.J. Hitch coming out. Going to bring in Michael Feliz. Mariners have a 3-0 lead with runners at first and second. 6th, couple of men on with 1 out. New pitcher is Michael Phillies.
47 appearances last year, 8-1 record, a 4.43 ERA. He throws hard, 95 strikeouts and 65 innings. Opponents hit 224 against him. Fastball 95 to 99 miles an hour with a hard slider.
We saw Phillies last Thursday in a 4-2 win for the Mariners. He went 2 innings, scoreless ball, struck out 1. Here's Taylor Motter. Motter to left field on the line, right at Gonzalez. Taylor Motter in the game because Gene Segura hamstring strain back in the 3rd. Brings up Mitch Haniger for a double last time up. 1 for 3 with a run scored. He and Motter scored on the 2-run single by Nelson Cruz in the 5th inning. Little bleeder, that's going to work. Here comes Zunino. Throw to 3rd, high. Going home is Dyson. 2 runs on that play, and the Mariners have a 5-0 lead. Mitch Haniger, his 2nd hit. Picks up an RBI. Reddick a little too aggressive with that throw to 3rd. It works for the Mariners.
Little inside out swing. They had the shift on again. He's able to hit it into right field, pick up an RBI. The Mariners are 3 for 10 runners in scoring position today. See Dyson running around the bag. I thought Reddick would try to throw to Holmes, and Eno scoring from 2nd rather than try to get Dyson, but it pays off for the Mariners. Almost went in the camera well, but Dyson paying attention, gets up quickly and scores another run for the Mariners.
Single RBI and an E9, allowing Haniger to get the 2nd, allowing Dyson to score. So a 5-0 lead. Here's Cano. Intentionally passed in the 5th. Worked a walk in the 4th. Doubled in the 1st. Mariners scoring in back-to-back innings here. 3 in the 5th and 2, and looking for more here in the 6th. One on to Robbie. Down the line, foul. One and 2 count for Cano. Haniger's got good speed. He's out at 2nd. 2 outs. RBI for Haniger, his 5th, his 2nd hit today. 2 for 4. On 2 strikes.
Nice short swing. Behind in the count. 96 miles an hour on the inside corner. Probably right at the top of the strike zone. Able to get a piece of it.
Mariners getting this offense. They got 5 runs on the board on 9 hits. And James Paxton, 6 strong innings, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, allowing just 2 hits. 1 and 2 here to Robbie. Pitch from Phillies. Hit to Altuve. Will put an end to the Mariners' 6th. But they get a Kepler more on the board. It's 5-0 Seattle. on Root Sports, brought to you by Money Tree. Proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Buy Jack in the Box. Try the Double Jack Combo for just $4.99 only at Jack in the Box. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. The Great Wheel here in Seattle. Good to see it. Mariners got home last night from spring training and the first week of the season. James Paxton has a 5-0 lead to work with. He's got Correa, Beltran, and Gaddis, the middle of the order for the Astros. He has looked good. 7 strikeouts, 2 hits, 2 walks.
Now 91 pitches, 57 strikes. His last outing in 6 innings through 100 pitches. Nobody getting loose in the pen.
Took a lot off of that pitch from Correa. Got a strike. Correa, infield hit and a base hit to center. He's got both hits for the Astros. And that's why pitching coaches say move their feet. Seager with a dive, deflects off his glove. That'll be a third base hit for Carlos Correa. He has all of the inventory for the Astros.
And we'll take a look at Kyle Seager at third. Ball hit to his left. A chance to make the play, but it'll go right off the end of his glove. Actually, the thumb of his glove. Something we've seen Kyle work on throughout spring and here at the start of the season, moving to his left. Wasn't able to come up with it that time.
Carlos Beltran reaching a fielder's choice and struck out so far today. Ball 1.
Evan Scribner getting loose in the pen now. James is at 95 pitches.
Tuno. Mariner RBIs today. Mitch Haniger's got 1, 2 for Cruz, 1 for Seager. Another run scored on an error. There's a base hit. The veteran Carlos Beltran. Let's check in with Angie Menting.
Guys, thanks so much. So many fans here at Safeco Field on opening day. We want to know where you are taking it in. You got to use that hashtag Where I Root, presented by Alaska Airlines. When you do, it gives us permission to use your photo, like Erin sending this one in. Worked her birthday yesterday so that she could take her hubby to the home opener today. Now that is a giver. And Jason sends this one in. 3 years in a row that they've been able to make it here to Safeco Field for opening day. That's a pretty cool tradition. And Michael, I'm mad at you, Michael. Now I have a name, all right, to go with the face. I'm just teasing. These guys crashed rehearsals today while we were getting ready for our pregame show. And see, look I'm not even looking at their camera. I'm actually looking at the television camera, not their camera. Use that hashtag Where I Root, presented by Alaska Airlines. I'm coming for you, Michael. Now I know your name.
Professionally done, Angie. Well done. 5-0. Mariners, but now Houston mounting a challenge. Nobody out, 2 on. Evan Gaddis, strikeout and a fly to left.
Mark Zepchinski has joined Scribner in the bullpen. Switch hitter Gonzalez on deck, and Reddick due after that.
Total word score. And we were asking yesterday. Somebody put up a Scrabble board.
There it is.
Well done. And we're told John Jacobson, one of our aces in the truck, said that score should actually be 48.
James, 98 pitches, 60 strikes for him, 24 batters faced, 17 first pitch strikes. So he's been working ahead of the hitters all afternoon.
There's a strike, 1-1. Addis handles catching and DH duties for the Houston Astros. Valencia's got to play. One out. Going to bring up Marlon Gonzalez. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. Good look at the crowd here at Safeco Field. 40,000 plus. Probably 42,000 plus. Good crowd. Well, Stoudemire Jr., pitching coaches. Scott Brocious, the assistant hitting coach on the left. Scott Service, Tim Bogar. Edgar Martinez in the tunnel there. 100 pitches for Big Pax.
And with that pitch, a new season high for him. He threw 100 pitches to get through 6 innings in Houston.
Gonzalez didn't like that call by Mike Everett.
It's a good pitch, right on the inside corner.
Dan Altavilla, he's off to a good start. Oh, 1 from James. Back up this way.
Seeing Dan getting loose here in Houston. He threw a fastball to Altuve that registered at 99 miles an hour.
Is that the one that came up and in,
yes,
too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
And he's throwing a slider at 90.
Right. Tend to remember that pitch. Yeah, that's some serious heat. Did a good job striking out Trout too in Anaheim. One out, 2 on. 0-2 pitch coming. Swing and a miss, got him. Good strikeout there, needed it. 8 Ks now for Big Pax.
We talked about his fastball all afternoon, but he's going to go to his breaking ball right here. That's the knuckle curve, just buries it in the ground, gets him to swing right over the top of it.
Brings up Josh Reddick. Paxton has bedeviled him twice. Struck him out swinging and looking. Martin, good jump, long run. He's there, got it. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. James Paxton, 7 strong innings and a Mariners 5-0 lead. Can stretch your imagination like never before. Play today. Good to have you with us, everybody. The home opener here at Safeco Field in Seattle. Dave Sims, Mike Flowers, Root Sports crew, and a big crowd. Big crowd here in the Mariners with a 5-0 lead, bottom 7 over the Houston Astros. It's been fun. We've had the roof open. We've had the roof closed. We had some sunshine.
Great ceremony today. Get things started. Mariners scoring some runs, and James Paxton being dominant once again.
Nelson Cruz going to lead it off. And he has thrilled us his last 2 times up. A single to center and a 2-run single to center in the 5th inning. He got ahead in the count with a head in the count 2-0 and hit one hard.
Altavilla continues to throw in the pen, so my guess would be that'll be it for James. 7 strong innings for him.
Still waiting for Mr. Cruz to get his first departure from the building. Michael Feliz, hard-throwing right-hander, continues. He's on to relief Tony Sipp, who came in to replace starter Charlie Morton. 44,856. Good crowd.
See if Feliz will challenge him right here.
2-0 to Nelly. In there for a strike. Cruz, Seager, and Valencia 4, 5, and 6 in the Mariner order. Off the mask of Evan Gattis. Mike Everett checking. You okay? Hang in there, big fella.
I don't think you can hurt him. I really don't.
Big man. Two balls, 2 strikes. Full count. Three-two pitch. Off the fist. I started today 2 for 25 with the first 7 ball games. Flied out to center in the first and then hits in his next 2 at bats. Payoff pitch. Fouled away.
Mariners have had some long at bats today. This will be the 8th pitch in this at bat as you take a look at James Paxton.
Martin hit a long one. Cano had one. Haniger, Segura. 3-2 to Nelly. Hit one the other way. Base hit. 3 consecutive hits by the big fella.
And typically, if you're struggling a little bit, the best way to come out of it is stay in the middle of the field the other way, and that's exactly what Nelson Cruz has done today. 3 singles, good start for him. Couple base hits up the middle, and then an inside-out swing drives us into right field.
That is a great sign. 3 for 4 day for Nelson Cruz. Kyle Seager, sacrifice fly. His last time up. He's 1 for 2. Gene Segura had to leave with a hamstring strain. Hopefully that will calm down, and hopefully we'll have him back in the batting order tomorrow. Seager comes up empty. 0-2. Cruz started the day with a 0.80 batting average, now up to 172 with his 3 for 4 day. 2 runs batted in. That's a nice jump. 0-2 to Kyle.
As a player, that's something that you always tell yourself. You realize it's early, but you keep telling yourself just 2 good days and everything will be back to normal. And that's just kind of the mind games you play.
And you won't be afraid to pick up the paper.
No, exactly. Yeah, and I think it works for your team too. We've talked enough about the road trip, but there's Kyle.
Seager driving one, right field, base of the fence. Cruz to third. He'll be held there. A double for Kyle Seager. 4th inning, 5-0 Mariners. Second hit today for Kyle, his second double of the young season.
Well, Robinson Cano with the big day yesterday, driving in 5 runs, and now Nelson Cruz with 3 hits. Kyle with a couple hits. So the middle of the order, guys are starting to do their thing as Kyle drives this off the base of the fence out to right field.
Paxton much appreciative. The fellas coming through.
Houston will bring their infield in. You see the alignment.
Nobody wants to join this hit party more than Danny Valencia. He's 0 for 3 today with 2 strikeouts. Danny now 4 for 31 out of the gate here in this early season. There you have it. We're starting to pile up. Danny trying to join it. 1-0 pitch. Valencia taking a look at Phillies. He's 0 for 3 against them. One pitch. That'll get out of play.
His best fastball so far, 98 miles an hour at the top of the strike zone. George Springer, the center fielder, shading towards right center. The defensive alignment. Big gap out in left center.
Drawn in infield, second and third, 1-2 pitch. 2-2. AJ Hinch, third-year manager. Alex Cora, bench coach on the right. Here comes a 2-2 to Valencia. Danny drives one. Left center field. Springer going back, makes the catch. Scoring easily is Cruz. Seager to third to Danny Valencia. Doesn't get a hit, but he picks up a run to make it 6-0 Mariners. Good drive there on that sac fly. It's his second run batted in.
Pretty good swing on a fastball. The inside corner. See the big leg kick from Danny, but he's able to get enough of the barrel to it. Into deep center field. Nelson Cruz able to score easily on the play. Houston will keep the infield in with Martin hitting. Kyle Seager moved up to third on the play.
Martin had a long at bat against Tony Sipp and delivered a base hit to right, leading off the 6th. He had distance on his mind with that swing. Struck out looking, swinging, and singled. Stole a base, too. That was also in the 6th. Six runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Mariners. 1-1. Raddick's got a good arm. It's medium right field. Let's check in with Angie Mentink, and you want to talk about some edibles? What do you got?
I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but Kenny McDougal just came by and he actually got some grasshoppers before they sold out. And this is what they come in, guys. It's like $4.
$4 at your cantina.
And you like them?
They're pretty good. They're spicy and they're delicate. They're really good. You should try one, Ange.
I should try it. Oh, I am just. This one's got the hair still on it.
TV history.
Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't know that it tastes like a grasshopper. But there's one that looked like a beast in here, like a caterpillar, guys. But then Kenny told me it was not a caterpillar, or it was a chili, actually.
Oh boy, you're brave.
They're chili pepper.
You are a brave soul.
It's spicy though. I'm gonna let you know that it's spicy, and I'm a little bit of a wussy when it comes to spice, but. Whew.
You gave it a shot. Wash it down with something nice.
Thank you so much, Kenny.
I got one for you. I got Drew Ristine tweets in, "Hey Mike, how about some rally grasshoppers for this year?" As Zunino swings through. You make yourself the toast of Seattle. Mike Blowers and rally grasshoppers. Ball at 2 strikes to Zunino. Man at third. Fouls it back. Thank you, Drew, for the tweet and the suggestion.
Yes.
Rally grasshoppers.
Mike is 1 for 2 today. He's also walked and scored a run.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Good inning here for the Mariners. 3 consecutive innings now they've scored. Give Mike the entire right side of the infield. Seager at third, 2-2 pitch.
Another long at bat.
Yes, sir. 7th pitch coming up.
We heard Scott Service after a couple of the games on the road talk about the quality of the at-bats the guys were having. It's amazing when you have a couple of guys start to swing it better, how it just kind of works its way down the lineup. I don't know what Mike's going to do right here, but at least he's making the pitcher work, fouling off some tough pitches.
Popped it up, playable. Gaddis takes it. That'll do it. Good inning for the Mariners. They get a run on 2 hits. No errors and leave a man. Through 7, Mariners have a 6-0 lead. We're going to see Dan Altavilla when we come back. Home opener here in Seattle at Safeco Field. Let's talk about James Paxton, our Columbia Bank difference of the game. A stellar performance today, Mike.
Back-to-back performances for James Paxton. Had a good fastball today, topping out at 98 miles an hour. A very good curveball today. He could bounce it or throw it for a strike, whatever he wanted to do. And he pitched inside. And we saw that in Houston. He was able to repeat the same performance today. Went 1 inning more, 7 innings for him today. 8 strikeouts in total for James Paxton. But things are looking really good for this Mariner starter, and this is the last out that he gets of the evening. He's ready to fly out to center field, and that'll be it for James Paxton. 7 innings for him. Really pitched well again. Just 4 hits, did not give up a run. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. threw 104 pitches, 66 of those for strikes. As you take a look at his line score, just a dominant performance by James again.
3 of the hits went to Carlos Correa. Dan Altavilla, his first hitter. Yuli Gurriel, first baseman.
And his first fastball, 98 miles an hour.
And deep to right, going back is Haniger. Makes an effort, can't get it. Slams into the wall. Martin gets it back in. And a leadoff double for Yuli Gurriel. It's his 3rd hit of the young season.
Great effort by Mitch, and he appears to be just fine. Fastball out over the plate, driving it to right field.
They let Altavilla do a lot of that too with that fastball. Good effort.
Turn the lineup over. 4th time through. Leadoff hitter George Springer stepping in.
5th hit for Houston. Way late, strike 1. Springer 1 for 4 against Dan.
This year, 4 appearances for Dan. Yet to give up an earned run, 6 strikeouts in 3 innings. Hasn't walked anybody at home to 250.
Oh, 2. Don't forget, Ken Griffey Jr. will be here on Friday. But he gets a replica of the statue that'll be going outside here at the ballpark. Down goes Springer. Down goes Springer. Wednesday, April 19th, Mariners and Root Sports bring you an Ichiro Dual Bobblehead Day. First 20,000 fans receive this one-of-a-kind giveaway celebrating the 3-time Silver Sluggers hitting milestones. So join us for the 12:40 matinee versus the Marlins by getting tickets now at mariners.com. Line drive, base hit off the bat of Alex Bregman. They'll hold Gurriel at 3rd. So runners at the corners. Double play is in order. Brings up Altuve, 0 for 2 with a walk. Altuve 1 for 4 against Dan. Six runs, 11 hits for the Mariners. No runs, 6 hits and an error for Houston. Ball 1. Just inside. 2-0.
Starting him off with a couple of sliders. The last one, he caught the inside corner, but he wasn't able to get the call. This would be 98 or 99 miles an hour.
Two-0 pitch.
Back with another slider.
How about that, huh? Altavilla ready, 2-1 pitch. Missed, 3-1. Mariner RBIs today. Haniger with 1, 2 for Cruz. Nelly with a 3-hit day. Seager's knocked in on with a sac fly. So has Valencia. Here to Altuve. Almost hit him. That loads the bases.
And it was another slider. Just he's gotten away from his fastball. Mike Zunino out to the mound. You can see Mel Stottlemyre out of the dugout.
Message imparted. You got a good fastball, use it.
Yeah, get back to working ahead of some hitters. Still have to make quality pitches, though. Correa's walking to the plate. He's having a good day. He's 3 for 3.
Correa 0 for 3 against Altavilla. Correa's first at bat hit a low liner off the right foot of Paxton, then got a base hit to center in the 4th, and hit one off of diving Seager's glove in the 7th. So a 3 for 3 day makes him 9 for 28 here in the early going, and Mariners could use a double play ball. Bases loaded, 1 out. Strike 1. One pitch coming to Carlos Correa off the end of the bat. Altavilla's ahead on 2.
And he started him off with a couple of sliders.
Punch out wouldn't be too shabby right here. Oh-2 pitch. Couldn't get him to bite. Ball and 2 strikes. Mariners had the 6-0 lead. 3 runs in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. Paxton outstanding in 7 innings of work. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
3 straight sliders and then that fastball off the plate away at 98 miles an hour. Now Robinson Cano going to make a trip to the mound, have a conversation with Dan.
It's a big out to get. Beltran's on deck. He singled his last time up. Two-2 pitch. Fouled off.
You can see the late swing on the fastball. It's elevated 98 miles an hour. And he's seen 3 sliders, so that's in the back of his mind.
Two pitch and a big one. Strike 3 call. There's a strikeout he's looking for.
And it was on the slider. Correa, I think, thought it was down. Definitely was on the plate. I think it's on the inside corner. You see on the tracer, looks like it's right at the knees.
Mike Everett rings him up. There's the veteran Carlos Beltran, 1 for 1 against Altavilla. Bases loaded, 2 outs now. And this is playable. Seager calls everybody off. Nicely done. Getting out of an 8th inning bases loaded jam. Keeps this a scoreless Astros ball club for today. It's 6-0 Mariners. They are rushing that season, and I don't blame them. 6-0 Mariners. Join us tomorrow during Mariners game for the second installment of Twitter Tuesday this season. You're going to get 5 chances to win exciting prizes just by interacting with us on Twitter throughout the ball game. Going to be posting questions. Want to hear from you, so be sure to watch and follow us on Twitter at RootSports_NW. Winners will be chosen at random. For giveaway rules, visit us at rootsports.com. There's your matchup for tomorrow. CenturyLink brings it to you. Joe Musgrove. Another look at him. He goes against Ariel Miranda. John Del Gustave takes over.
Last year, 14 appearances, a 1-0 record, ERA at 3.5, 16 strikeouts, and 15 1/3. Opponents hitting .232. Fastball, slider, another power arm out of the pen for Houston. His average fastball 97 miles an hour.
He's got 9-1 and 2 in the order. Gerard Dyson to lead off. Taylor Motter came on to replace Gene Segura, who left with a hamstring injury back in the 3rd, and Mitch Haniger. So far today, Dyson hit by a pitch, doubled to right, and reached on a fielder's choice. Laid down a bunt, and it died right in front of the plate. And the catcher, Gaddis, threw out the runner at 3rd, Martin. That was back in the 6th inning. Deal 1. 1-1 to Gerard. Right outside. The 2-1 pitch. No play for Bregman. Dyson's won a couple of pennants at Kansas City and the World Series. His day made. Trying to get the Mariners back on the winning track here. 2-2 popped up. Gaddis is under it. Didn't even take the mask off. Second time he's made a play.
It's like Evan Scribner getting loose in the pen. Evan was up earlier back in the 7th inning.
Taylor Motter. This will be his 3rd plate appearance. Reads through a fielder's choice the 5th as you look at Scribner. Taylor lined out to left field in the 6th against Michael Feliz. A shift against him. Breaking ball for strike. Big men had a very impressive spring for the Mariners. Had a few games at Tampa Bay last year.
He's a good athlete. Runs well. Has some pop in his bat too. He plays all the positions on the field.
And a 1-1 pitch coming. Back above us. Nice to see 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming alive here. Bobby Cano with a double. Nelly with 3 straight hits. Seager with a sac fly and a hit. Pitch outside. Mariners 3, 4, 5 hitters, 6 for 9, 3 runs batted in, a run scored, 2 doubles and 2 walks. That's a productivity we've been banking on.
It was a matter of time.
Absolutely. Gurriel taking a look. Nothing doing. Time for a Big Fish Casino big catch. And take a look at Edgar Martinez, Jamie Moyer, Dan Wilson, Alvin Davis, Mariners Hall of Famers, catching the opening pitches from Rupert Jones, Harold Reynolds, Mark McLemore, and Willie Bloomquist. 2-2 to Taylor Motter. Strike 3 called. 2 outs. First strikeout for Gandel. This Friday, Ken Griffey Jr. replica statue night. Not only will the first 45,000 fans receive a free statue, but 24 of them will be autographed by the kid himself. So join us and see if you're one of the lucky ones to take home a signed statue. Get your tickets at mariners.com. Here's Nataniger. Safeco Field debut. Strikeout looking, a double play, a double, and an RBI single. One, 2 to Mitch. Shift on against Mitch and hits right into it. There's Correa. Throws him out. Last licks here for the Astros. Gaddis, Gonzalez, and Reddick. 6, 7, and 8 coming your way. Mariners lead at 6-0. Evan Scribner for the lockdown.
Right into the 9th inning, up by 6. I like it though. Hey, coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines, we're going to heap some praise on James Paxton. He is absolutely fantastic today. We will head inside the clubhouse here from the skipper, Scott Service. Jen Mueller will be down on the field. It's all coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. And guys, we'll also make sure we recap all of the opening day festivities. Dave, back to you.
A lot of fun today, Angie. No question about it. Thank you very much. Top 9 Mariners. Shaking off that tough one yesterday. Here we go, 9th inning. Evan Scribner.
3 appearances so far this year. Inning and 2/3. Giving up a home run. It hurts the ERA at the start of the season. Evan throws a lot of strikes. His fastball right around 90 miles an hour. Curveball and a slider.
First pitch to Evan Gaddis. Swung on and fouled back up this way. Gaddis this afternoon 0 for 3. A strikeout, a fly to left, and a foul out to Valencia at first. Scribner, a fast worker. Bumps in a strike, 0-2. Gaddis 2 for 9 against Evan. it right to right. Oh, he dropped it. But he hangs with it and throws him out. One away.
Yeah, kind of hit on the heel of his glove and just rolled out the end of it. No problem.
Smooth as ever.
Yeah, no hurry at all.
Brings up Marwin Gonzalez 0 for 2 with a walk. Fly to right, struck out. Strike one. He didn't like that at all. Going for the walk. Oh, 1 from Scribner. Took a lot off. Missed. Count at 1-1. Yes, with the off-speed pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike.
A couple of curveballs. That one at 69. You can see he was at the bottom of the strike zone. Mike wasn't able to handle it, so he doesn't get the call.
Scribner's a get it and go guy. Two and two. What I found. 2 outs.
You got to catch a break every now and then. At least he's in a good position to field his position right back at him and right in the glove. Almost caught it behind him.
He did.
Yeah.
See that flash? Yeah, I did see that. Let's stick the glove out. Here's Josh Reddick 0 for 3. Strikeout, swinging, looking, and a line out to left center. And watch this with the Cano. And this feels a lot better than it did 24 hours ago. Mariners win the home opener, 6-0 over Houston.
It's great to see some offense tonight, the middle of the order, including Robinson Cano starting to swing the bats. That is a nice thing to say here at the home opener. And James Paxton, we may be seeing something really special for this young man. A dominant performance again, going 7 innings, just 4 hits, did not give up a run, couple of walks, 8 strikeouts for James. He threw 104 to get through 7, so a little more efficient this time. But I think as the season goes on, you're going to see him consistently go 7, 8 innings. And what a big win for the guys after a tough road trip.
It was a tough loss yesterday, and all the doom and gloomers. All right, it's baseball. We got 162 of these bad boys. Come on.
Well, the main thing, too, is you see Modern walking off the field. Got a chance to play today because Segura was hurt early. A hamstring injury. We'll see what that's all about, see how many days he might miss. Scott Service, I'm sure, a big sigh of relief for him anytime you have your home opener. Excited about it, and dominant performance again by James Paxton. Nelson Cruz really swung it well. 3 hits for Nelly today. He picked up a couple of RBIs, so good to see the big man swinging it.
2 hours and 56 minutes. Enjoyed it all. The pregame was great as usual. Angie and the Grasshoppers was something different, which we didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
Spicy wasn't in the script, and it worked out well. And good to see all the fellas, Bubba and Chris and Robbie, back here in the booth. Good to be back home.
And a great crowd today, too. The fans were into it. It was a lot of fun.
44,856. Let's go to Jen Mueller with Nelson Cruz.
Who is all smiles today. And Nelly, is this a bit of a weight off your shoulders to come in with a few hits, a few RBI?
Yeah, definitely a great win. I think, I mean, you don't need that much runs when Paxton was pitching like today. So it was nice to get a double in front of the fans, you know, and thank you for the support.
You looked a little different at the plate today. Was it a timing thing that felt different? Was it being back in front of the home fans? What was different at the plate?
I think both. Definitely it's better when you have the fans behind you supporting us, and nothing better than be back home.
In the 5th inning, the Astros walked Cano to load the bases and set up a potential double play. But with you at the plate, that's not what happened. How were you approaching that at bat?
Well, just looking for something that I can drive in that situation, and I was lucky enough to get a fastball and drive it to the middle, and it was nice to get it going.
It's going to be nice to get inside and celebrate. Any hints as to what it's going to be like in there? Can you let the fans on any of that?
We're going to celebrate, you know.
All right, we're not going to keep him from that celebration. Nice day for Nelly Cruz. 3 hits, Brad, as he powers the Mariners to an opening day win here at Safeco.
All right, Jen, thank you very much. We're partying out here in the pen, too. It's not just Nelly and the guys, right?
Nobody's leaving. They don't want to go home.